Hello, snowboarders of the internet. I'm your host, Avran LeFeber, and in this video we're going to be reviewing the Salomon Huck Knife Pro. That's right, the big brother to the Huck Knife. A little bit stiffer, a little more premium materials. This board features Salomon's quad camber, which is predominantly traditional camber, and it comes down to this very micro rocker zone in the tip and the tail. This is going to give you the load, pop, snap, and drive of traditional camber, but you got this micro rocker zone, which just decreases the edge bite out there so it's not as hooky. This board is available in 148, 152, 155, 155 wide, 158, and 158 wide. I rode this board at Copper Mountain on a mostly bluebird day. There was a few clouds just floating through, and there was a load of moderate winds with warmer temperatures. There was frozen firm corduroy, creamy corduroy, chunder, slush, ice in the shade, just kind of a mix of most spring-like conditions, and I rode it with my Rome Black Label bindings and my K2 Thraxis boots. Alright, so you get your standard run-of-the-mill, middle-of-the-road park flex. Softer tips, stiffer midsection, moderate torsional flex, so you can really twist this board when you absolutely need to. Now with that said, you do get some chatter out in the tip and the tail, and it slightly resonates underfoot. It's a little more damp than the regular Huck knife, but you still feel it. With that said, in rutted out terrain, it does get knocked around from time to time, so keep those knees bent, but for the most part, it stays on top of everything and just sort of lets you cruise right along. So you do have to load the camber up on this board, and it takes just a little bit more effort than the regular Huck knife, not much. So that means it's still relatively easy, but what you put in, you get double back out of it. So this is a board that really wants to boost off cat track side hits over families of fat skier people that fell over in front of you. You can just basically launch with this board. It wants to get in the air, go fast, pop hard, and see how far you can send it. Now, when it comes to jumps, small, medium, large, that's really what it caters to, is just jumps of all sizes. I'd say it's actually more at home on medium to large jumps than smaller. This board just wants to pop off the lip. It wants to get you in the air. It's just got a little bit more snap and a little bit more stability between the feet, so when you come down, you just feel a little bit more locked in. When it comes to buttering on this board, you do have softer tips and that slight rocker before the up kick. That's where you want to get your weight out over and really press into. Is it going to give you a deep butter? No, it's going to be a little bit more subdued, and you're going to have a ton of snap out of it, so prepare yourself for that fight. But you can butter on this board. You can get sideways, you can swivel around and do what you need to do. It's just got a lot of rebound to it, just with the camber profile and the flex in there. Now, when it comes to jibbing, you want to hit those ideal sweet spots, which are closer to the tip and tail contact points, right where that micro rocker is, right where the camber comes down. Get your weight out over there and have a little bit more speed than you think. If you're a lazy, subdued jibber, you're not going to have a fun time with this, but if you're a little more calculated and precise, you'll figure out really quick that you need to get your weight out over the nose or the tail. It's going to lock in, and it's going to fight you, but that fight means you're going to get snap out of the end of the feature. And when you get sideways in the middle, it does a balancing act that slightly cradles around the feature. It's not like going to clap out or hug it as aggressively as the regular Huck knife, but it will balance and slightly cradle it so you can go sideways across the feature. Overall, it's a board that can handle jibbing. You just want to use a little more speed and just a little bit more muscle. So one of the big things to note about this board is it can feel a little bit loose on edge, usually on firm or icy snow, and that's partially due to the EQ Rad side cut. It just doesn't grip as well as other side cuts on ice. This is something that I've just noticed for years with it. That being said, you get in hero snow, soft snow, stuff like that, it's going to grip. It's got a smooth and fluid transmission from edge to edge, and there's power out of that tail for when you really lay it over and want to push yourself out of a carve. Its strong suit is short, tight, quick setup turns and those medium to medium hard aggressive carves where you're swooping from one side of the trail back to the other. When you really lay it over on edge and you're just pushing it as hard as you can, driving it from that center through the tail, that's when you notice that there's some limitations. It just doesn't have as much edge grip. It wants to kick out. It doesn't really let you stay laid over. It wants to let you get over and then get right back up and transition over onto the other edge. You'll notice that is very apparent, especially with the camber profile, side cut, and flex. This just all works in conjunction to keep you more flat-based. Who's this board for? The high-end freestyle rider. The nice thing about this board is it's predictable. After you've made a few laps on it, you understand how it's going to ride. It doesn't throw you off. You can just predict how it's going to transition from edge to edge, how it's going to pop, how it's going to press, how it's going to butter, how you're going to be able to play around with it. Which is nice. It's nice to have a predictable board because then it doesn't really make you wonder, well, can I do this? Can I not do this? You're just sort of like, yeah, okay, it can handle it. The only downside to this board is that side cut grip on ice or super firm snow. It's just not as prevalent as other boards that are in the same category as it. It's still a good ride, but that's the only real gripe I have with it. Comparable boards, the Nitro T3, the Rome Mod, the Capita Outsiders. Binding recommendations, the Nitro Team, the Rome Katana, the Salomon Alibi Pro. This has been my review of the Salomon Huck Knife Pro. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you own one? Are you going to buy one? Leave me a comment down below. Let's have a conversation about this snowboard. If you're new here, remember to subscribe, click the bell, get those notifications. That way you're not missing any of the videos we got coming out for all you snowboarders of the internet. And if you really like what we're doing over here and you want to support us further, swing on over to Angry Snowboarder VIP and become a member. Sure, I could tell you more here, but I got a video over there that explains it so much better. As always, I've been your host, Avran LeFeber, and I'll see you in another video.